So today in this class we will learn about understanding job advertisements and also the sections of a resume. So why is it important for you to understand the job advertisements? Because if you understand the job advertisements properly, then the chances of getting the employment will increase. And uh, and you can make a good impression on the potential employer. I think you have heard the expression that first impressions are lasting ones. And we hope that our first meeting between the employer and ours should be remembered in a good way. Nobody wants to make their meeting unorganized or confused or neat or not structured and also long and boring. Once if you make a such impression, your chances of getting a job will automatically diminish. So the first important thing is our meeting should be precise and interesting. So first question I would like to ask you that when do you meet your potential employer? Yes, the most important answer or everyone gives is that at the time of interview. Okay, this is a common answer. But for me, this is not the first meeting with the employer. He meets you in the form of paper. Okay, that is the first meeting, and that meeting creates some good or bad impression on the potential employer. So on the paper, in the very olden days they used to call it a job application, but now the terms have changed. So he meets you on paper. He knows something about your skills, about your background, your potentials and qualifications, everything on the paper first. Generally, when you look at a job advertisement, there he will ask you to send a resume or a CV or biodata or a profile. Okay, so in that way, by sending that, we are meeting our potential employer. We are giving some impression to the employer. So these are the summaries. Okay, these are summaries of our abilities, you can say. And this gives the information that they want. And if your resume is good, or your application or your curriculum vitae, whatever words you call, if it is good, then it increases the chances of the second step in the hiring process. It can be an interview probably. So in the Indian context, we commonly use the 4 words. Okay. They are the resume, the curriculum vitae, the biodata, and the profile. Okay, these are the four different words that are used in the Indian context. But one thing you need to remember is, though they mean same in a broad sense, the focus is different. How they mean the same in a broad sense is that they all provide your information of skills, then qualifications, experience. Okay, but the focus is different, I told you. Right? They are one and the same. The format, instead of focus, we can use the word format, and the length are different in all the three cases. Now, let us look at something more. What should you do before applying a job? First, generally, the advertisements these days, they appear in the newspapers. It is a very common source for us. And the other source these days is the emails. You are getting the advertisements of jobs through emails. Okay, these are two ways how we can come across the job advertisements. And see, once you look at the advertisement, you read the advertisement very carefully. That is very important, because if you are not understanding it properly, the first step towards getting a job will be a failure. So try to understand the advertisement carefully. And after looking at the advertisement, you need to understand the requirement of the potential employer. What the potential employer wants, what qualification he wants, what experience. Sometimes they will ask for an experience. So what experience he wants, what kind of abilities the employer needs. These are the things of concern. So look at it properly before applying for a job. And after that, respond accordingly. You have understood, but now if you are not responding to it properly, accordingly, then again here we find some gaps between the employer and your abilities, what he is asking and what you are providing. So responding accordingly is the most important step before applying. And also you should see whether you are suitable for the job, whether your qualifications, your abilities meet the employer. So the next thing is, just look at this job advertisement. Look at the job advertisement given. So there is a small question: in which format the potential employer wants to provide you details. Okay, I already told you, once you look at the advertisement, you should know that in which form you need to provide the information to the employer. So here he is asking in the form of biodata. You can look at the last but one line. For further details regarding biodata form, job profile, other terms and conditions, visit. So he is giving a application in the form of a biodata. He wants that to be filled. So here you no need to prepare your own biodata. You have to download the form and you need to fill the details asked by him. So that's, see here, this the format is different, that's why I have presented you. If this is not there, then you can write your application in whatever format you want, but here he has given the format. Okay, so now first, who is the employer here? It is the Indian Oil Limited is the employer here. This is the advertisement issued by them, so they are the employers here. And then what are the requirements? How many candidates and how many candidates they want to hire? Or you can say like this: how many vacancies are there for the job? Yes, there are 2 vacancies. The advertisement shows that there are 2 vacancies. What are the educational qualifications they want? So here he wants associate member of ICAI. So this is a post of chartered accountant. You have already passed the chartered accountantship, and then you should be a member of that ICAI. And here salary is given. I don't think that this is our concern, whether we want to apply for the job or not. This we will look at. And date and venue. See here he is asking, he has given a date and venue. Okay, headquarters Bihar, Guwahati, Assam, something. So there you need to take your pro forma or biodata. The projected requirements may change. So if the candidates may be like this, if the candidates are not available, then they may change their requirement. So, but the most important thing here we must know is the posts are 2 and the qualifications, and they are providing you with a biodata. In case they won't provide you the form, if they are here, in this case they are providing with you a form and you need to fill it. In case if they are not providing you a form, then we have to make ourselves a format in which we need to project ourselves. That formats are 4. I already told you: resume, curriculum vitae, biodata and profile. So we need to project ourselves in any one of these forms. Okay, so before going to that, let us look at the first one, that is the resume. This is the most widely used format these days. In most of the advertisements we find send your resume. Okay. And then this resume is a term of French origin, which means the summary or abstract. So here you need to know that it is a summary or abstract of something. What is that something? So that is your personal, academic and professional details. It is the summary of your personal, academic and professional details. So when you are writing your personal, academic and professional details, it should not be so lengthy, because if you provide him pages and pages of information, it is very hard for him to spend the time. Okay, so that's why it should be 1 or 2 pages, not more than that. So it should be very concise, restricted to 1 or sometimes 2 pages. That's enough. Now let us look at the sections of a resume. How do you write a resume? So these are 9 sections I have covered here. So these are the sections that you need to mention in a resume. That is, sections here means the information. Okay, in the that you have to provide in the resume. First is your details. Then the second one is objective. The third, work experience, educational qualifications, technical qualifications. Here there is another word like summary of qualifications or job profile and strengths here. Then additional information, references, and the last is cover letter. This is not a section of a resume, this is not written in the resume, but it is provided in a separate manner. That I will tell you in the last. Okay, now you need to remember all these sections, and we will look at them one by one. First, your details. I would like to give some information to you before starting this. Every one of you these days have a computer. So when you are sending or writing a resume, it is most important that it should be in a typed format. You type it and provide it, and don't write with a hand. And the other important thing is the punctuation, use of capital letters and small letters. Okay, where there are necessary, always use capital letters, and don't use unnecessarily the capital letters. So punctuation is very important. And also when you are typing, the indent, the indent is also very much important. Maintain the same indent for all the sections of a resume. And also it should be very organized and structured. That means when you are typing, alignment of the lines, that is indent of the lines and each section of the resume should be same, and whenever necessary, that is you write in bold the sections, like your details. When you are writing your details, everything should not be in capital, but your name can be in a bold one and capital letters. In that way you can do. So it should be very neat and organized. And the most important thing is avoid the spelling mistakes. Try to avoid the spelling mistakes. Now this is how you are going to start your resume. These are the things that you need to remember before starting the resume. First, we are entering the personal details. Okay, that is your details. At the top, the first one, you need to write your full name. Okay, not a name that is called at your home, or sometimes people have nicknames, or names that are different in the certificates, and at home they have a separate name. So not like that, but the name which is on the certificate, and that should be called by the people, not by the family members. That name should be written in the resume. So generally we see people having two names, one called at home. Okay, and in the home there will be some name of home and relatives, and in the certificates the name will be different. These people don't know that name. It's happened several times. So that should not be there. Whatever it's there in the certificates, write your full name. Then after writing the full name, the most important thing is you can write your address for communication. And what should your address for communication include? It should include your door number if it is there, and your colony, name of the colony. If there is a name for your house, that name, then colony, then your village. If you belong to a village, then automatically there will be a mandal, and district. If you belong to a city, you can write the name of that city, and then the pin code of your village, city, or what pin code is essential, so that it reaches to you very properly. And if you are in college, this you need to remember, that if you are a student of your college, don't give your college address or your hostel address, because it may not reach you, or if there are holidays for your college and there is a chance of misplacing, you will for 2 months, see, look at students, they go for summer vacation for 2 months, then they if the correspondence comes to you in those months, it is very inconvenient for you, because for the staff to communicate to you and send the letter, or else it may be misplaced. So that's why don't give your college address. Avoid this. It's better you avoid. Give permanent address, and especially your address where your parents live, because they are the one who care for you. They will communicate to you very properly. And then email and phone number are compulsory, right? Because the communication these days is happening through email, or they may call. So email and phone number are compulsory. And if there is no email for you, open an email account and give a phone number to them. So these things you will write in your personal details or your details. Then the next important is objective. Objective here means it reveals what post you are applying for. Okay, and it should be very brief, not more than 2 lines, and don't use cliches like a challenging position, opportunity for growth. So because these are widely used, they are used these days by everyone, so these may not provide a good impression, and this may not be taken seriously by the employers. Here I have given one example of an objective. Position as marketing manager in your company, or entry level position in sales and customer service. Okay, you can make it like sales or customer service. So I have just very shortly I have written the objective. Objective is to mention what post you are applying for. It is given in the objective. What is your objective in writing the resume? That what is your objective? You are applying for the post of marketing manager. So position as marketing manager is your objective. Here in the second case, your objective is position in sales. Okay, you want a position in sales, so entry level position in sales I have written. Okay, so it can be anything, or it is banking investor, entry level position in banking investor, LIC market trainer, or position as management trainee, or position as customer service manager, position as graphic designer, and position as accountant. So in this way it can be anything. So it's if you write this much, it's enough. And the next thing is work experience. So the work experience is written in reverse chronological order. what does this reverse chronological order mean? It means the last degree or qualification is written first, followed by other qualifications. So the degrees that you have acquired recently is written first, and in the same way other qualifications are written. So when you are writing the degree, when you are writing your works of experience, then list the years of work. How many years you have worked? Position held. In what position you have worked in certain company? Name of the company and location. If you are a fresh graduate, you can skip this section. Understood? Because you do not have work experience. So that's why for those people you can skip this section. So I think you have understood what is reverse chronological order. That is, the experience or the work which recently you held, you are working, should be written first. Then the details of your work should be given. That's it. Now look at this. Educational qualifications. So after work experience, you need to write educational qualifications. The educational qualifications are written after the work experience because when you are applying for employment, the employer looks at the education, look at the work experience that is more prominent for him. So that's why it is written at the top, and after that educational qualifications are written. If there are no work experience for you, you can skip that column and you simply write educational qualifications after the objective. So this is also written in reverse chronological order. And when we are writing the educational qualifications, list the academic year, in which academic years you have studied. Then the name of the degree, that means the name of the qualification, name of the college where you have studied, and if it is better, you give the boards, some boards, or the universities. Generally, when you acquire a degree, there will be a board issuing that certificate. You can write the name of the board, or else if it is a university, you can write the university and the percentage you have secured in that. So these are the important things that you need to write when you write your educational qualifications. Now we have twice come across the word arrange the following in reverse chronological order. Here I have given you some qualifications: BCom, SSC, MCom, diploma. Okay, try to arrange them in the reverse chronological order. Okay, I hope you have written this in the reverse chronological order. Now let us look at the answer. This is the reverse chronological order. See, there I think I have given BCom at the top. So the qualification that is acquired recently is MCom. So you have completed MCom in 2 years. Generally it is a 2 years course. So that's why I have written 2018 to 2020. Prior to MCom, the qualification is BCom. So you have written BCom 2016 to 2018. Here I have listed only 2 years because the students of diploma will join in BCom second year, and they will do 2 years course in BCom. So that's why BCom 2016 to 2018 I have written. Then diploma in it is computer and commercial practice. So diploma in computer and commercial practice, it is a 3 years course. That's why it is 2013 to 2016, and SSC 2013. Now look at the dates. The recent date is written at the top. The recent qualification is written at the top, and the qualification that is acquired first in your life is written in the end. So this is the reverse chronological order. So you need to write your work experience as well as the educational qualifications in the reverse chronological order. I hope you have understood what it is, and let's move to the next section. Technical qualifications. So this is also one of the important column these days, and it is most important one because unless you have a technical skills, no employer wants to employ you. So along with educational qualifications, these are also most important. So what will you write in the technical qualifications? This means technical qualifications means the knowledge of computers. Okay, it is the knowledge of the computers, wherein you mention the computer languages, software or hardwares. I have given the examples. Computer languages like C, C++, Java, VHDL. Then operating systems. If you know the operating systems, you can put a separate bullet. By bulleting, you can keep it as operating system, and then you can write the operating systems. I have listed here nearly 5: Ubuntu, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8 and Windows 10. Then the softwares you know: MATLAB, LTSpice, PSpice, Cadence, Virtuoso, whatever softwares you know, you can write. Web designing, HTML, JavaScript, MySQL. And for graphic designing, I have listed Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, CorelDRAW, and Dreamweaver. And I have listed these, but it is not important that you know all these, because every profession is different, and according to the professional needs, okay, people acquire qualifications. For example, a person who wants to apply for the post of graphic designing, he must know for Photoshop or Illustrator or any of these softwares. But a person who is applying for the post of chartered accountant, he may not know these graphic designing, Photoshop, Illustrator. Okay, I think you have got my point. And the operating system Ubuntu, Windows XP, this is a must for everyone, because once you are able to operate, you can operate anything. So this is a must for everything. Languages, this I think is also not important for every profession, because I am a teacher and I may not know C, C++, Java and PHDL. So according to the professional needs, you should acquire qualifications, and you should project yourself. Okay. Then the next most important thing is summary of qualifications, job profile, and strengths. So again, don't confuse here with the summary of qualifications. It is the summary of qualifications. Here you mention the job profile. Already in the work experience, you have written where you have worked, which position you held, and your experience, 3 years, 4 years. Here, there, in the work experience, you are writing from and to, from 2013 to 2018. In this way, your period you are writing. But here, the years, for example, let's take 2013 to 2018. This is the period. You are writing it in work experience. But here you are writing the years of experience. So how many years is the experience? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 5 years experience. Okay, in this way. So in the summary or job profile, you are going to write the 5 years experience. And here this is a chance to present yourself that you are very suitable. You can write the achievements of your earlier previous job. You have successfully led a project, then you can write the led a project successfully in so and so, like that you can write that. So any achievement that you have acquired, you have made some innovation, that you can write. And skills you have acquired in job profile. Okay, while doing the job, you might have acquired some skills, so that skills also can be written. Generally in the job, we will know some skills like team management skills. So you can write, I have become a team player, learned team playing ability. So in that way, you can, whatever the skills you have acquired, you can write here. And these statements can be bulleted. That means you can put bullets in front of them. And write your strengths in strengths section. So what can be your strengths? Sometimes the advertisements itself shows what strength they need, what are the strengths a candidate should possess. Okay, so the advertisement itself displays. So in such a case, try to pick the strengths from the advertisement. Like, I will give you one example. If the advertisement is for a creative graphic designer, so there is a word like creative in that. So that's why you can pick that word and put it in the strengths. You can show that creativity is your strength. Or for example, a candidate with good communication skills in English. Okay, that if it is mentioned in the job advertisement, that can be your strength, that you can write in your strength, right? Good communication or good communicator or good communication skills in English. So in this way you can write. There are several strengths you can mention in your resume, like positive attitude, teamwork skills, time management, analytical abilities, then punctuality, organizing skills, decision making skills, problem solving skills, all the soft skills you can write in this column. And this gives that you are the abilities you have, what abilities you have in you to the potential employer. Then the last but not the least is the additional information. The information that is not provided in the sections that we have listed above, that remaining information is put in the additional information. You make it a column of additional information and you put it. So in this column or in this section, we need to provide the information regarding the languages known by you. If you know 3 languages, you write 3 languages, generally English, Hindi and Telugu. If you know still any language, then you can write English, Telugu, Hindi and Marathi. So in this way, how many languages you are able to speak can be written in this column. Then the next is hobbies. What hobbies do you have? So your hobbies can be like photography. Okay, it's up to you what hobbies you are going to write. Then maybe stamp collection, any hobby of your choice. Then interests. Okay, so interests can be your interest, better they should be professionally connected, right? For example, if you are applying for a post of a sales representative, here in this interest column you can write traveling. Why? Because see, a sales representative need to travel from one place to another for selling goods. So instead of writing that, if you write something different, then it will not give the impression to the employer. So that's why in the interest, if you write traveling, so the employer will understand that this person is traveling, interested in traveling, and he is better suits to the profession. So try to write the interests which relate to your profession, and also project yourself better. Then you can write your father's name, and these days mother's name has also become compulsory, because In the school certificates also it is printed these days. So you can write your father's name, if possible write your mother's name, either write your age or date of birth. Why? Because sometimes in the advertisements they will ask for young, okay, age limits will be there. So at that time better you provide, even it is not provided, you write your age and date of birth. So this is the additional information. After the additional information we have references. So in the references mention the names of two responsible people, okay, who hold a responsible position and who know you better, and these people should warrant your abilities. And before writing names, try to take permission of these people. And in the advertisement, if they don't ask for the references, then you can simply write available on request. That means you are providing if they are asking. And the last is the cover letter. This is also as important as a resume. And resume should be enclosed with a cover letter. Always a resume, should be enclosed with a cover letter. And this cover letter is the first chance of conversation. In the Indian context, we call it a covering letter. Okay, and in a video, in the later classes, we will discuss how to write a cover letter, and also I'll provide you with sample cover letters. So this is to be attached with the resume. And with this we are going to end the class. So before ending the class, I would like to remind you once again that in the resume we are writing the details, personal details, then objective, then work experience, and then educational qualifications, technical qualifications, and profile, your strengths, additional information, and references. So this is how we write a resume. With this we end the class. Thank you.